It's 5:30, and we'll call our meeting to order for the Aberdeen City Council for Monday, February the 4th. Carl, roll call, please.
Councilmember Remley.
Here.
Ronayne.
Here.
Lunsman.
Here.
Slate Hansen.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Bunceness.
Present.
Olson.
Here.
Rux.
Here.
Mayor Leifson.
Here, we have a scout troop with us, and I've asked them to designate somebody to lead us in our pledge. Or all of you at once, if you want.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Which troop do we have here? Where have you housed?
Ron Colley.
Ron Colley troop. Okay. Well, glad to have you. You'll be glad to hear it's probably not going to be a long meeting unless one of these people up here cause trouble here during the time. So nothing on the agenda that looks like it's going to keep you here very long. You can go home and get your shoveling done. Entertain a motion for approving the minutes of last week's meeting.
So moved. Second.
Motion Johnson and second by Bunceness. If there are no changes, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. We have no one signed up for open forum. Under old business, last week we passed first reading of ordinance 190101, authorizing issuance and sale of bonds for TIF 29, and would entertain a motion for final adoption.
So moved.
Motion Slate Hansen, second by Bunceness. Any questions on this one? Nothing new, Carl?
No new changes.
Okay. Roll call then, please, Carl.
Councilmember Remley.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Leifson.
All right, motion carries. Item 5 is our consent calendar. Items A through F are routine city business. Need a motion on that.
Move to approve.
Motion Olson, second by Lunsman. Questions on any of them? Carl, roll call to approve A through F.
Councilmember Rux.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Remley.
Aye.
Mayor Leifson.
Aye, and that carries. Under new business tonight, the first is an amendment to the intergovernmental agreement for the Brown County Regional Communications Center. Offered for possible approval of the amendment to the agreement as recommended by the Brown County Regional Communications Council.
Moved. Second.
Motion Bunceness, second by Remley, and I'll turn it over to the author of this document.
Thank you, Mayor. The original intergovernmental agreement was passed by the City Council and the Brown County Board of Commissioners in 2006. It has served well. However, in last year, I believe, we've kind of restarted that council and have been working hard to continue to do the business of the council. In looking at the intergovernmental agreement, it was apparent that it was time for some changes to that. Those changes were worked over by Chris White and myself and presented to the Communications Council at its last meeting. You have, as part of the agenda packet, a copy of the minutes showing that the Communications Council actually did consider and work through our proposed changes. And what you have before you is a clean copy of the recommended intergovernmental agreement for the Brown County Regional Communications Center. In the agenda packet, I have identified a number of revisions, the more significant revisions for that, and if anyone would like to discuss those, you may. Otherwise, the Brown County Regional Communications Council did recommend that this be approved by the governing bodies. Tomorrow morning, the Brown County Commissioners will be taking up this agreement as well.
Questions or comments on the motion to approve this agreement? I would, just mention appreciative, particularly of the Brown County Sheriff, who is the person over there in that building that oversees the operation, and they've just, really done a good job with that. It's a really crucial and difficult thing, and they're always fighting with keeping fully staffed the way we are in our police department, and that's an issue that they've dealt with, and really want to express my appreciation to the Sheriff for the way he's handled this.
So if anyone read the minutes, there's one area there that says that the new building is at 1221 First Street South. And if you know where that's at, that's in the middle of a residential area. That's an error. It's really, I think it's 124, but you're saying it's 122?
That's what we have in the prior minutes, yeah.
Our-
Typographical error.
Yeah, Reunion Student Loan used to own that building, and it was 124.
Yeah.
But whatever they want to call it now, it's down here in the core area.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Ronan and I are the people from the council who are on that, and if you ever have any questions or want to attend any meetings, you're sure welcome to. Clint, did you have something?
I just have a question. One of the changes was to require the city to also cover the center under its insurance policy. Is it still covered with the county, or is the city taking over that responsibility?
Both entities are going to carry it independently on their insurance.
Okay.
And the reason for that was I had run that question actually by our risk pool liability at South Dakota Public Assurance Alliance. And at the end of that exchange was not comfortable that the city would have independent coverage in the event we were named a lawsuit. As I understand it, it would not cost the city any additional premiums to place us on coverage. And rather than take that chance, let's just simply add us to it and make it a contractual obligation.
Other questions?
Well, and the result of that is we may end up having those coverages stacked. We may have both the county's coverage and the city's coverage for any issues that occur there, but at least we know that we have our own coverage, which we weren't assured of.
Anyone else? If not, we have a motion and a second to approve the amendment of the agreement as recommended by the Brown County Regional Communications Council. All in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Next on the agenda, Robin with a request to purchase backhoe. Robin?
Okay, the city historically has had two backhoes. I think, replaced the smaller backhoe last year. We're looking to replace the larger one this year. In some of the contracts, we've done them through the NJPA, which is a Joint Powers Agreement for purchasing. This one is slightly different. It's through the Minnesota State contract listings, but it's basically the same process. And we've got $170,000 budgeted. This particular backhoe, we're asking for $152,390.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion Rux and second by Olson. Any questions on this?
I noticed they call their proposal an investment proposal. Must want to make you feel good for spending $152,000.
Other comments?
So they crossed off the 9 or the 8 and put 9 in there. Is that? Did you see that? They had 2018 on their proposal.
Getting the 2018 prices, but if we don't act fairly soon, we're going to see a price increase. So.
Okay.
Anything else? Not. The motion is to purchase the backhoe from RDO Equipment, the amount of $152,390. All in favor of approving that, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carries. Item C is offered for approval, a bill list from February 4th that you've all had access to. Would entertain a motion to pay those bills.
Moved.
Second.
Motion Ronayne, second by Slade Hansen. Questions on any of the bills?
If I may. This is not a question on the bill, this is a question on procedure. And I promised Mary Campton, our records and license specialist, that I would make sure that we are accurately reflecting what's occurring in the meetings with what the minutes are showing. And I want the council to be aware that for many of these items that are brought before you have within the agenda packet and the council action request have a draft motion language. And unless someone states otherwise, we will assume that your motion is that reflected in the council action request. And I wanted to make sure that you'll see that there's some special language for example, the bill list here in the council action request, and to make sure that everyone understands that the motion will be reflected in the minutes as set forth in the council action request.
That was my motion.
Okay.
Other comments or questions? Or anybody have any thoughts since last week on not reading any of the bills? If not, Carl, we have a motion and a second. As language has been specified. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Remley,
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Rux.
Aye.
Mayor Leveson.
All right, motion carries. Item D is payroll for January 20 through February 2nd, and city share of Social Security, old age, and survivors insurance, retirement, health, and life insurance.
Move approval.
Second.
Motion Ruck, second by Remley to approve the payroll. Carl?
Councilmember Rux.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Bunceness.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Slate Hansen.
Aye.
Lunsman.
Aye.
Ronayne.
Aye.
Remley.
Aye.
Mayor Leveson.
Aye, motion carries. Lynn, city manager report.
Okay, thank you. I would like to update you on upcoming activities for future meetings. On Tuesday, February 19th, KEC Wiseman will be here to do an update on his marketing report. Likewise, on Monday, February 25th, the police department will do a vaping presentation. And then Monday, March 4th, Parks and Rec will be here from a professor from SDSU to talk about emerald ash borer.
Okay. I saw some stories that the severe and extended cold, they were hoping in Sioux Falls had killed a lot of them.
Well, then we shouldn't have any.
Is that the truth? Before we adjourn, I apologize. Can you reflect me as abstaining from the consent calendar? Because I had something on there that had my signature on it.
Okay.
I'm sorry? Yes. Thank you.
Robin, you'd mentioned when I came in, there's a anticipated plowing for Thursday, at least at this point.
Well, the forecast that we're seeing right now, there's going to be another inch of snow tonight, perhaps, adding to the 2.3 that we got last night. And then on Wednesday night, they're talking about another 3, maybe 4 inches of snow. So it's very likely that we would be looking at a Thursday morning start for another plowing and get everything cleaned up again. And I know everybody's getting tired of it, but it's going to be one of those processes we got to keep working on. So
what does that mean for downtown?
that would mean we would probably, the downtown area, I'm guessing because of the timing of it, that downtown would be Thursday night.
Okay.
It's going to be a real challenge for. I noticed coming down Dakota Street today, where we had plowed the emergency route, that some of those sidewalks were a foot deep with new snow thrown on them.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's there's just no capacity to put anything anymore, and we're narrowing up badly right now. So
help your neighbors.
yeah, it's hard.
Okay.
We thanks, Lynn, for the updated map on the library where we have leaks occurring. Do we have any preliminary thoughts on if this is a material failure or what might be occurring?
Well, I know that Shirley's keeping a log of every time they have what they call a trip event. And I know previously they were checking, we were told initially that they thought it had to do with humidity within the building, and now we know that not to be true. And it seems as though wherever the roof line is, there's leakage, and so we believe it's the ridge cap. And they have not removed any ridge caps, so we're not certain if in fact that is the problem. But we've been told from the contractor they prefer not to do anything until we have warmer temperatures. Now, the leakage, even though it's pretty much throughout the entire building, has not damaged anything to date, other than if you go into the entryway, you'll see that it's leaking on the sheetrock. If you go into the adult and the children's area, it's coming off the bare ceiling, and so they have buckets, and so it remains to be seen how bad it will be for the next couple of months as the sun comes out. But it seems as though the leakage occurs every time we have sun and after a snow event.
So
But
if
we
it's
don't know exactly what the problem is yet.
right, so they haven't. I understand they don't know until they get up there. But if it's a ridge cap, do we have a fix for that? I mean, it just what's that?
Removal.
And then reinstalling something,
Yes.
another ridge cap.
Well, I think they figured that it's perhaps the
sealant in between the roof sheets and the ridge cap right now. So there may be some reinstallation to keep air perhaps from moving in, or if we're getting stuff blowing in, that's what they don't really know. If it's something that's moved in by wind, or whether it's something that's infiltrating just, via cold air temps.
Do we have snow accumulating on the roof?
Yeah.
Yes.
Is it?
I don't know. That's a great question.
They did have this similar problem last year, and that's when they thought it was the humidity in the building and problems with the air handling system. But like I say, last year was a little bit different animal as far as weather. We didn't have as much snow as this year. If you look now, I drove by today and there's snow on the.
It's piling up there. I haven't looked.
Yeah.
I can see it a little bit, but
Yeah, I mean
it doesn't look like much on the tip there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's-
We sent Carl up there with a shovel.
Yeah.
So when do they propose going up there and looking at this? What do they mean by when weather is getting warmer? Because I mean, the whole issue could be going away
Well, you have
with
two
warmer
different
weather. What's that?
statements. One is I get the impression that the contractor prefers that it brings spring temperatures so he can do work, and the architect, I get the impression that anytime it's above 32 degrees, he would like to start the work. And so I think there'll have to be a compromise as to when they think the best time period is to go up there.
Because, kind of like with Dave, I mean, if they get up there and fix it in spring, we won't know until next winter if they fix the issue or not.
How do we know what's wrong if we're not looking at it when the elements are the way they are? I understand this sub-zero is not the time to get up there, but we're going to have some warmer temperatures here soon. So,
Soon.
You sure?
That's very optimistic.
well, yeah, if you believe the weather people. I guess.
20 days.
Yeah.
Robin, has there been any discussion with the contractors about whether they can do something from the inside of the building to get in there and look at it? Have they already done that?
I think they've done some preliminary stuff, but I don't know that they feel that they're gonna find what they need to find until they start taking
Till they're
things
ripping
apart.
things apart. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, anybody with anything else before we adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Motion Remley, second by Johnson to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.